All right. Looks like everyone's here. All right, so I think everyone can hear us fairly. Like my volume might be low to some people, but I think we're okay to go. So
Cool. No, you're
everybody,
perfect.
oh, awesome. So everybody, welcome to another one of our LKS stage events. Today we're hosting the super long anticipated Ask Me Anything with our notable trader Brick. A lot of people have been asking about this for quite some time. So basically, to refresh the format for this, Angela and I have come up with some questions that we generally ask our speakers. And then after we ask these couple questions, we open the floor up for you guys to, ask whatever it is, but we do ask that you keep trolling to a minimum because this workshop is only like 45 minutes to an hour long. But, let's get right to it. Okay, Rick, first question. How did your trading journey start and what were you doing before you got into trading?
I've gotten into trading. I think I've told this story a bunch of times, but I think I started trading around like 2015. I was still like a very newbie in this space. Back in the day, it was a lot of like penny stocks and a lot of biotechs that were being traded back at that time. I also got very into trading because of, pretty sure everybody knows him, Tim Sykes. So I saw like a Facebook post from him a way back, and it just looked like really fast money that was being made and all these like crazy gains. I think a lot of us kind of get carried away and see these gains on like Reddit as well. So back then it was really like Facebook communities that were really these stock trading that everybody was using at that time. But while during 2015, I was actually I think a junior in high school, so I was still pretty young. I was a youngin at that point. But I was never like really like a hardcore trader at that time. Like 2015, I think around that time I was just dipping my toes, really testing the waters of like what like stocks are, like how to trade it. And the really great thing about trading for me at that time, I always had like this very grind like mentality of like making money while I'm young. And one thing that attracted me with like stocks and just trading in general is just like it's very liquid. Like you could just throw in like few $100, and when if you get the timing right and sell out, you can make a decent profit without ever having to do any like investing any sweat equity or hard labor. And with nowadays, internet money is very prevalent now. A lot of people are creating income online, and I think that's great because it's like very high leverage. And yeah, I mean, since then, I've been slowly like working my way, like learning a lot about the markets. Besides, because I was just trading like biotechs and penny stocks, but since then, I've been trying to educate myself a little bit more like fundamentals. What are technicals? What is like a order flow processes, and kind of use that into kind of my trading today.
Oh, I mean, man, that is quite the journey. I think for me also, my trading journey hasn't been that long. I joined because of the gains that, Angela was posting on her social medias too, because that's ridiculous, right? You put in like $200, you get like 2000 back per contract. So I understand where
Yeah.
you're coming from, and I think we all can kind of relate.
It was until like I mean, of course, I think a lot of people here are like new traders, like came in like 2020, 2021, and I'm pretty sure all of you guys have seen like these crazy gains on like Instagram or Twitter or TikTok of like these crazy gains of like AMC, GME, of course. But at that time, like 2015, 2016, there wasn't really like stock trading was not like that viral or that very like shock appealing to a lot of people. I think when Robinhood came around, it just made it very accessible for everybody. But yeah, at that time, I mean, there's a whole bunch of new traders now, and of course I went through like a lot of struggles, like blew up my port multiple times. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are learning that now, especially with this market environment, like the hardest market to trade in since 2008. So, it's no longer easy mode. It's like expert hard mode that you guys are experiencing now. But the fact that you guys are still here, I mean, that says a lot about, how much you guys want to learn and like your conviction of how serious you are with trading. So, when the next bull market comes, like I don't have a doubt that you guys will profit from it nicely from what you've learned this year or the past year.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely not easy. Next question. Why have you chosen the style of trading that you do today?
I'll kind of walk you through my trading journey from like when I first started to what it is today because it's I've seen Chica trade as well, like back in like 2020 and like how he alerts and I've seen kind of how his trades evolved, like how his style has evolved. I'm kind of much the same way, like I mentioned. Like back then when I first started, it was really like penny stocks and biotechs, but I realized that's not really a sustainable way to trade because to be honest, at that time it was like a bunch of Facebook communities like pumping these fucking like no name penny stocks that nobody's ever even heard of. Back then, I mean, besides like Tim Sykes, I'm pretty sure everybody knows him. His name's Martin Shkreli. He was a very lucrative like trader before he got locked up. And one trade that I did follow at that time was K Bio, I believe it was. It's basically it was the GME before a GME. Like it was like a biotech penny stock that like ran up 10,000% in a single week. That was like kind of one of the craziest trade that I've like ever experienced, and that just kind of opened my eyes of like how like easy, I wouldn't say easy, but how liquid it is to like really create like gains or earn gains. But since then, biotechs, penny stocks, as well, I picked up more of like just like trading equities, really, just like VTI, VOO, just the S&Ps, because I knew it was just like very safe, so it's not like a very high risk type of asset class. But then back into like 2018, 2019, that's where I kind of really started to educate myself on like option trading. And at that time, options trading was not that very popular because with Robinhood and like Webull and like these other brokerages now, they make it just super easy. But back then, it was very difficult to learn how to like what a call is, what a put is. It just seemed like very complicated and complex at the time. But since then, I've been like really educating myself on that and then taking advantage of like spreads, like credit spreads and different like hedging strategy with like collars and using like shorts to use like buying shorts and buying calls at the same time to like limit your upside risk. All of these like complex strategies I try to like I was educating myself in like 2019 and those were mainly like big caps, like large ETFs like S&P and Nasdaq, mid caps, big tech of course. And then I think 2020, 2021, I think around that time I joined LKS and we were trading like a whole bunch of meme stocks at that point. I followed like a lot of Chico's alerts at that time. He did like Tilray and like Virgin, Virgin Atlantic or whatever what's that ticker called? Like the Virgin stock, the going to space.
Oh man, I forgot, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
oh,
space
that SPAC.
SPE, Virgin
Yeah.
Galactic. Yeah, that was fun. I made like I won't say how much, but I made a pretty good chunk of change, and I lost it all like twofold because a lot of people know me. I'm not very emotional with my trading style, and I usually just ride everything out and just take profits on the way. But at that particular trade, it was like stock gains, euphoria, and then like straight despair like the next day. So that sucked.
Oh.
But since then, like 2021 to like today, I've been really paying attention to what's really happening, what's moving the markets. Because a lot of people can come to their this like conclusions of what's driving the market. Is it technical? Is it fundamentals? Is it the macros? Is it some order flow conspiracy theories of like JP Morgan like doing this and shorting or like hedging and all that? So there's a lot of things that moving the markets, but I try to pay attention to all sides of like everybody's trade theses and come to my own conclusion. Particularly with like I think the Ukraine war last year, I think I profited really nicely off that because Ukraine was like a major commodity exporter. They had like a lot of I was just doing my own like due diligence on it. They're like a largest like exporter of grains and I had traded like a lot of MOS and the wheat ETF. And of course, if you guys know last year, those names like ran up like crazy. And with sanctions placed on Russia at that time, I knew that this had like implications on like the whole energy market in general because Russia was like a major exporter of like petroleum oil, like sour crude. And yeah, I just knew kind of how much that would affect the spot price of Brent crude and as well as US crude as well. So yeah, I mean, it's really paying attention to my surroundings and learning how that might impact the markets. Kind of this way of trading has been a lot more like profitable and lucrative for me because it's not like I'll have to day trade and like wake up at market open and just see everything that's happening tick by tick. If I could just pinpoint of what's happening today, any major like global events, and find the right tickers and the right sectors to play, I think that could be very like it has been working out for me very nicely.
Yeah, and that's pretty apparent with all the wonderful things that you share in trading floor. It's very like world based FA of what's happening now and into the next
Yeah.
few weeks. And I think that's why like you've evolved into like more of like a swing trader, which you always kind of advocate. Like holding longer will always be more profitable than like, if you're trying to day trade like 10 times a day. Right.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with day trading as well because I know with swing trading, especially with options, because of like the decay risk and theta and gamma, like, it's a very complex like financial instrument. But, I think that's why a lot of people have been liking futures a lot because, it's a very good like way to scalp like few like minutes within the day and, you could still trade it like after market hours. So like Globex as well, like Asia Open, London Open. It's also a great way to trade as well. But with options trading, it is high leverage and high risk. You could gain a lot with very little capital starting out. And that's kind of options is something that I've been really comfortable with, and I've kind of understand the Greeks like really thoroughly to really make the trades that I do today.
Mm, okay. So going off that, can you share with us what in your memory, what your biggest gain and loss was?
Well, the first biggest gain I mentioned it was K Bio. I mean, I was like a high schooler at that time. I like threw in like $50 and I made like $1,500 in within like 3 days, and that was like the most money that I've ever made in that short period of time. And that just kind of opened my eyes of like what is possible with stock trading. And yeah, that was kind of my first taste of it. But there's been a lot. I post a lot of gains. I'm pretty sure a lot of people post gains as well. But at the end, I lose a lot of money. Like I would just be very transparent. It's not like what you see in these Discords or Reddits. I'm just like completely printing money all the time. It's just I'm willing to put in of I'm not gonna put in what I'm not willing to lose is what I'll say. But I guess the most recent one, or last year, made a ton trading like XOM, UNG, as well as wheat and MOS. I think recently, I think last month, the market was like very like hot to start off the year, and UPST favorite one it was pretty good gain off that, as well as a lot of other mid caps as well. I mean, I won't really say the dollar amount, but I'll just say it's in the thousands of percents.
Oh, yeah, you don't have to be too detailed, but
Yeah.
so piggybacking off that, because you admitted that you lost a lot too, because that's just the realistic thing about trading. How do you keep a level head if you're experiencing like a bad trading day?
Yeah, I mean, it is tough, particularly with me. I always treated like trading as something that's a good supplement to like your income already. It's a very powerful tool. Like if you have a job and you just like add like a few couple dollars into like a trade or a long-term investment, those gains do compound in a long run. But in terms of, I'm sorry, did you say what was biggest loss or what was your question again?
Oh no, I was asking you, how do you keep a level head when you're
Oh, level head.
experiencing a bad day?
I mean, it's tough for everybody because, some people are like relying on trading as like a source, their primary source of income. which I highly don't recommend you guys do. But to be honest, like really just like closing the like shutting off the computer, shutting off the laptop when you know you should be. Like when that thought comes to my mind, I instantly do it. Like because what I do and a lot of newbie traders do is they'll try to revenge trade their way out of their losses, and which is a very terrible idea. I do not recommend. It takes a lot of like stoicism and discipline to really do that. And but one thing that helps is really just shutting off your laptop, your computer, just going outside a bit, like getting some sunlight, like really looking out for your health. Like those, like, that can go a long way to help kind of appease your mind a bit. Because, when you're stuck trading from market open to market close and just sitting at a desk, just staring at a screen and just looking at candles, it does weigh on your mental health and your physical health as well. So I do recommend like from time to time, like people look out for their physical health as much as possible to really like, get their mind sharp when the next trading day comes around.
Mm, that's actually really sound advice. So this one I've been curious about myself is where did the name Brick come from?
I mean, I think I have a very inappropriate
Oh, okay,
back,
I understand.
so I don't want to say it. But it's just like really trolling to be honest. But I just like the sound of brick, and brick was
Yeah.
equivalent to, illegal money. So I don't know. Some people think I have this persona of like this drug dealer or something. So I was like, why not? Let's go with this narrative and just go with
Oh,
brick.
okay. I thought it was brick because bricked up, but I guess
No,
people
no,
people
no,
think
no.
different.
I mean, yeah, that could be another origin story for brick.
Okay, yeah, I mean it's left up to interpretation, I guess, but
Yeah.
okay, man, a lot of people are curious about like your monetary net worth and obviously you don't have to answer that, but people are also curious about like can you share a little bit about like what you do outside of trading in LKS?
Yeah. So I'm kind of a busy guy. Like within this past year, well, I think 2022 in particular, I think a lot of people noticed that I've been a lot more busier and I haven't been really doing these high level DDs and like doing a lot of day trade alerts because back then I was alerting a lot in the day trade channel. But to be honest, like I really don't have the time to like be in market open all the way to market close all the time, but it's because I work in a publicly traded SaaS company right now, as well as run a advertising and consulting agency, and as well as slipping in a lot of trading opportunities, as well as supporting LKS as much as I can, not just from the trading front, but also like supporting Angela or anything in the back end. I also do a lot of the newsletters that you guys see, the Catalyst newsletters that goes out every week to all the members. So yeah, I mean, I have a pretty busy schedule most of the times, but when I get the opportunity, I try to slip in some trading opportunities there as much as I can.
Mm. Oh man, you are super busy.
Yeah. And I
Um,
do say this because, being a full-time trader is great and all, but, I do recommend like a lot of people like develop like very like high leverage skills that they could apply like outside because a lot of you guys that are looking at the markets now, you already have an edge with compared to a lot of people. Like what's moving the markets, like what companies are benefiting from what. Like this knowledge can apply to like anything like outside of like trading, like whether it's like business or sales or marketing, like these skills, like I really recommend like people develop these skills as well as having trading as like a supplement.
for sure. Yeah. What advice would you give to your younger self in terms of trading or even in general?
I guess advice, I mean, I started pretty early trading myself, so I don't know how far I could give my advice to myself to maybe start trading earlier. I don't know, but one thing that I do really wish I did was really start investing into a long term a lot sooner. I mean, I did start trading when I was like in high school, but it wasn't until like 2018, 2019ish where I took long term investing a lot more seriously because of course like you guys know like these TikTok videos you see or these like charts of like what your gains would be like if you had started investing when you're like 18 years old versus like 40 years old. Like you could see like how like the effect of compound interest works in your favor. And it doesn't have to be like you're investing like huge sums of money or your all of your income every month. Really like baby steps, like it just develops a good habit. Even like a few bucks, even a few hundred every month, just setting some aside for your future self, it's always great. And when I mean in long-term investing, I do kind of mean that for like very safe, like high, like very reliable companies and of course S&P 500 like ETFs like those are like perfect. Like you can't go wrong with that. So yeah, that's kind of like the one advice I'd give. If anybody's like I would say like younger than like 21 here, I know probably a lot of people are, some people here. Just always like if you have like trading gains, like just park some of that gains aside for like your long-term portfolio because down the line those gains can compound like very nicely and that's worked out for me like very well. When I was trading in like 2018, I put a lot of my gains into just investing into VTI and just letting it like sit there and just like completely forget about it like it doesn't exist. Yeah, I mean like that's kind of like the one advice I'd give for myself and any like new traders out here.
Yeah, I think even if you don't trade, I think it's always nice to kind of have like you said, build a good consistent habit of just kind of investing long term.
With cause if people here are trading like 5 days a week from open to close, and you guys are literally seeing everything in real time of what's happening in the markets, if you don't take advantage of that opportunity and like actually invest, like I feel like you're doing yourself a disservice. Like you should never be a trader. You should also be a trader and an investor.
Yeah, for sure. So where can we find you the most active in LKS?
Most active, I would say, like market chat. I think that's kind of like the most active chat from what I see, in my opinion. But of course, like anywhere, like anybody can ping me anywhere and I'll find it. If like you have any questions, of course, just ping me from any channel and then I'll do my best to try to answer as best as I can. But primarily trading floor and market chat, or market chat is basically where I just give like real time, like live updates whether it's terms of news or like any call outs of like any tickers that you guys should be looking out for. I might try to be active there, but any like more extensive like due diligence on my end that I'm looking at, I try to post that on trading floor. But that's just kind of like general chat, but actual alerts, it's usually in swing trade channel. Rarely, I mean, I used to be very active in day trade alerts, but it's kind of slowed down a little bit. But I do plan on being more active there pretty soon. So watch out for like day trade alerts as well as undervalued stocks. I think that's the channel what it's called. So I plan to be a little bit more active there as well.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for you to make a comeback with your day trades.
Yeah.
Final question before we open it up to the floor. What is one advice you give someone who is new to LKS, as in like probably how best they can utilize our community?
Well, kind of the thing with this community, a lot of people I've noticed that they just like come and go when they just blindly follow the alerts. I think you and me, as well as a lot of the other members within the community, mentions of really taking these alerts more as kind of like trade ideas and just see like where their heads at and just ask questions to the notables, why they chose it and like how much they size in, what their plan is just picking their like everybody's brain in like market chat, future chat, trading floor. I think just being active and just asking questions about why an alert was made and what you plan to do with it. I feel like you could gain a lot more knowledge from that aside from just like the gains that you make from it.
Oh yeah, actually that's really good advice. Yeah, I mean, I remember when I first joined LKS, I picked at like Kobe's brain the most because he's like an older, more experienced trader. So I think I would give the same advice too. That's actually really sound.
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay, guys, we are done with the main questions just so that we can get to know Brick a little bit more. The floor is now open to your questions. I will read to Brick questions as I see them come up. So you can go ahead and start asking, guys. I think I saw a few questions before while you were talking, so let me see if I can
Yeah.
find them. Bandwagon Effect 122 asks, what do you think about averaging down strategy?
With my strategy with averaging down, I don't average down like forever. Like, let's say like I have a swing out till like next year and it's down like 50% or something like that. Like, I don't want to keep like averaging down like every single month. I only average down up to the set budget that I have with trading. So one thing that I have a very strict trading philosophy is have a set budget per trade or per month, and you have to force yourself to not go over that limit. And it requires like a lot of discipline. Like, I know, like, there's some things that's happening in the market that is really tempting to like take after, like, let's say like the session's over, like the stock crashes like after hours like 50% or something, like something crazy like that.
Yeah.
So for me, I average down up till the set budget that I have set for a trade. And what I mean by that is my total portfolio size, I try not to trade or put more than 1% of the portfolio value into any single trade. So let's say like I've got like let's say like what, 10,000, like a 10K port, and 1% of that is like what, like 100.
Hmm.
So I try not to push over 100 when I'm averaging down. So it just keeps me disciplined and make sure I'm aware of what I'm risking. So let's say if I just opened that one trade, I know the worst case scenario, my port will be down 1% if this whole trade doesn't go well.
Right. And that's if you make it negative 100%, which you usually don't do anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Zephyr asks, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years. Good question. To be honest, I don't really know myself. I try to learn like new things as I go. I'm just raw dogging it every day, day by day. But I do want the agency that I'm working with right now, I do want to have an exit with it, probably sell it to another buyer one day at like a certain multiple, grow that as much as I can, as well as, because I've been a very like a workaholic for the past like for like 6 years, and I've missed out on like a lot of experiences, and I really want to start taking advantage of those opportunities when they do come around.
Hmm.
So, and I do really want to have like, once I do have like a very like large like war chest that I can rely on, I do want to, probably just like focus primarily just on trading. Like, once I'm very settled and very comfortable with myself, because the flexibility of trading is like really like great and all. Like, you could like trade from anywhere in the world. Like, you don't have to clock in or clock out anywhere. But yeah, I guess being like a full-time trader and just committing to that once my other ventures are growing and established, then yeah, that's kind of where I see myself.
Mm. Oh, I hope that does come true for you soon too, you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, at the end, like, y'all benefit from that too.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Like we benefit from it more too. So
yeah.
Keck asks, how do you adjust your trading strategy to account for the limited buying power of a small account?
I mean, I always recommend to trade small, like always. Like, even like there's like options are like, everybody knows that like they're very cheap. Like, some of them cost like a few bucks to like $50 to a few hundred. It really doesn't hurt. I mean, I know that it's very like frustrating if you're starting with a small account. Like, you can't. It's not like you're gonna grow $100 account to like a damn quarter million, like some crazy thing you see like on Reddit. Like, those are like very anomaly type of events. So I don't like put your bets on like you having a gain like that. But really, if you are like having a small port, I would just treat it like, almost treat it like paper trading. Just like do like test trades with it, and just when you are trading small, you're very like less emotional with it. So try to replicate that feeling of like that stoic type of trading, and then once you do grow like within your career and just have like more income to like throw into trading, that's when you could really start sizing up. So treat like a small account just kind of like another paper account in a way.
Yeah. Dingy asks, what do you think about trading frat?
Oh yeah, he's a YouTuber that I kind of got a lot of inspiration from, in terms of like the fundamentals, or not fundamentals, but like more of the macros. So I think found his. So he's like a pretty good YouTuber, and I do recommend a lot of people check his stuff out. But I discovered him back in like 2018, and he's like a great trader, and like I try to pick as much stuff from his brain as well. But not just him, but I try to like pick brains of like every type of trader. I like quantums, like his like trading thesis and Andy stuff, as well as Austin, as well as Chica. I try to like see opportunities, like find as many opportunities as I can if I could just like pick a bunch of different traders' brains. So I know he does like a daily live stream, and I think it's great like value that you guys could get from him. I really don't have time to like sit through his like live streams. He's open till close. But if you guys are wanting to like get updates, like definitely check his stuff out. But yeah, I mean, I have nothing else but positive to say for him.
Oh, I gotta go check him out then.
Yeah, I actually know one of his fast stock news. Yeah, that's he's actually a mod within Trading Fraternity, that channel. So yeah, that's kind of fast stock news. He also gives Bloomberg like news callouts within that YouTube live streaming as well. I also do know him as well personally, so there's also like a great community that you guys could kind of like educate yourself on.
Mm, nice. Remy asks, is Brick going to retire to Japan?
I mean, I think a lot of people now, I think with ascendancy, like he's like living in Asia now and he's just like balling over there because everything's so cheap. It's like tempting for me too, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just too used to the US, like the lifestyle here, kind of like the culture. But I do have some relatives over there and I do like enjoy going there from time to time. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe a few years down the line, I'll just like do like a short-term rental and just live there for like a few months and just be trading there. So who knows?
Yeah, travel is definitely in the books for you, man. Here's another two questions for Brick by Zephyr. The first one is, what is your outlook on the market for the year?
It's really hard to say because of course like the current interest rate right now it's has like never been seen since like '08, and really the Fed only cuts until there's like a major like collapse in credit where they have to like cut rates and bail everybody out. But something like this has never been done, so like raising interest rates this high this fast, nobody really knows really what the outcome is going to be. But what I do know is as long as until the end of 2023, as long as the Fed keeps raising rates, and as long as there's no like major collapse in credit and like in faith in US credit, as long as those like major events don't happen until then, I think the market will be just completely in this volatile chop that we've been seeing like around like this 4,000 range for quite some time, to be honest. But until like a major collapse in credit happens, I think easily basically like I would say like low 3,000s, it's would be a reasonable price target within like the next year or something like that. Those events happen.
Nice. And the second part of his question is, do you have any interest in diving into futures trading?
Oh yeah, I mean I do futures from time to time as well. I did pick it up and I did pick up futures back in like 2020 when the whole COVID craze was happening, where like the Fed was doing like an emergency rate cut. The trade was not actually like the futures like E-minis or like the Nasdaq itself, but it was really the commodities, because I think a lot of you are aware back in 2020 like oil literally went negative, and I've seen a lot of like traders like they've profited massively off that because like commodity prices going to negative, that's something that's never been heard of. And I just kind of was educating myself a lot more on futures during that whole COVID era, and I just been trading a lot of like e-minis back then, as well as like commodities. Usually when I don't want to use, like I also do like a little bit of forex as well, not as much as I used to, but Forex, you have to use MetaTrader. That's the platform that I use. But futures, they also have a currency futures that you could trade instead of the actual like USD to JPY pair, or like Great British Pound to like Swiss franc pair. Like there's futures tickers for that you could trade it easily on like TOS or any other futures broker. But yeah, I don't really trade futures as much maybe as Chica, but from time to time, like maybe I'll just do like one E-mini future here and there. I don't really alert them to be honest, because more like the futures chat, they like to swing or they like to scalp it and day trade it. I kind of have big balls and actually swing some futures contracts, so I don't really like because I know some people won't be able to stomach that loss. So, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Nebi Lungen asks, Brick, what's your top three hobbies after market closes?
Oh, good question. I used to skateboard a lot in high school, so I try to pick up a board here and there. I'm trying to get a lot more active now. Just been running a lot. I also played basketball in high school, so whenever I get the chance, I try to like ball out a little bit. But to be honest, like I really don't have a lot of free time as much as I used to. So it's kind of really hard right now, but I do play, I guess, video games. I like playing Apex Legends, Overwatch sometimes.
Are you toxic?
But I don't play any of like those hardcore, like competitive, like league. Like, no, I can't do that.
Are you toxic in Apex and Overwatch?
Not, no, I'm very casual. I'm not those like hardcore players at all. I play a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
like Modern Warfare, Warzone too. So yeah.
Okay, so you're not like Quantum. That's good to know.
Oh no, no, not at all.
Trinidad James asks, what is your typical asset allocation for your IRA?
I actually don't have an IRA to be honest. I just only have my employer's 401k.
Hmm.
But I really only have like, I have multiple long-term portfolios with like different trading type of or investment styles. So one is like a super safe, like high or safe dividend portfolio. If I could recall, it's like VTI, VOO, JEPI. It's like a monthly dividend payer, as well as like IRM. It's like a REIT that pays a dividend as well, like Coca-Cola. Riem, Vici, that was kind of another one that I called out last year for an investment. They're another REIT as well as MPW. I think I followed this alert from Austin actually. So yeah, MPW, but it's actually been like crashing like crazy, and I just been buying the dips, but it just keeps dipping.
Oh
The
no.
dividend yield is pretty good. It's like a 12% yield. And, when you do buy a dividend yielding company, if it does recover and you are able to lock in that yield, and while the stock does keep going up, like you could profit off that massively. And yeah, I think with this year, I think my goal will be try to like look for more very safe, very like reliable dividend paying companies as like kind of like a long term investment.
Mm,
But other than that, I guess like more riskier like investment. I have like two other portfolios. It's like on a TOS account. It's just like a little bit more medium to like high risk type of investments. Of course, like these like UPST, SoFi, like Zim integrated shipping, as well as like high leverage like biotech companies as well.
mhm.
And it's kind of like a ARK Invest type of Kathy Woods portfolio. A lot of people don't really have the risk tolerance for that, but with me, I am a little bit. I do have the risk tolerance to do trade like that, but I allocate like the most of my capital as I can to like very safe, reliable investments.
Okay, so do you have Tesla put leaps in those?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I just needed to make sure because I'm on the same boat as you with Tesla. So there
Yeah.
it is, man. What else is there? Dean asks, how much money do you have? Up to you to answer.
I mean, I'm doing well for myself. That's all you need to know.
There you go, Dean. Now you can stop asking. Let's see here. What is your trading setup, hardware slash software?
Oh, good question. In terms of like software, I use Charles Schwab. There's this trading application called Street Smart Trader or Smart Street Trader. I keep forgetting what it is. But what it has, it's basically a high-low ticker scanner. The only platforms that I know of that have this, like this is like this I'm basically spilling the beans of my secrets, so take notes. But they have a high-low ticker scanner where it basically scans the entire market in real time of what tickers is making new highs or new lows of the days in real time. Charles Schwab and E-Trade Pro has this, but with E-Trade Pro, the problem is you have to have like at least 100K portfolio size, or you have to trade like an X amount of trades per quarter. So these two platforms I do recommend because this is how I'm like finding different call outs, like calling out different tickers, and before it happens, like they run like few like hundreds of percent in the same day. So I definitely recommend having like a high-low ticker scanner for day trades. There's also a high-low ticker that you could customize specifically for like sectors. So I put it like all the S&P sectors like XLV, XLF, XLK, XLU. Like you could see in real time what sectors are actually like really are the outperformers and what are the underperformers in real time. And once you identify those sectors, you could really like click a drop down menu on Charles Schwab and see what the top tickers are trending or the top tickers by market cap within that sector. And you could identify trading opportunities there as well. But other than
Wow.
that, yeah, I really recommend everybody has this. I'll try to like put like together like a tutorial of how to set up Charles Schwab because I think that would probably make market chat like a lot more like valuable to everybody if everybody has this tool and all of us are seeing like different tickers that are like running up and we could just call it out on market chat and I think that'd be really great. Like there'd be like hundreds of more trading opportunities that people will be able to find. So
Oh man.
I'll
Yeah.
we'll try to work on that soon.
Wow, that's great. You heard it here, guys. That's literally the secret to becoming brick. So
Yeah.
make note. Remy asks, I was wondering your thoughts on parking cash into something like SGOV while we wait.
Yeah, the thing is, so I alerted SGOV. So what it is basically, I said it's like a very ratchet type of way to invest in short-term treasury bills. And treasury bills, they're like yielding some like with interest rates right now, that's equivalent to like a 5-6% yield on your money within like 3 months, which is like absolutely crazy. And you could go to like the treasury.gov and like invest in those bills that way within an auction. Like I won't get too into it because it's kind of complex, a little bit detailed of how the investing in treasury bills work. But what SGov is basically SGov, BIL. There's like two other treasury bill like ETFs, but what it is basically you can invest money into it at the first of each month, and then you can sell out completely at the last day of the month. What it does is the yields adjust completely. So I mean, you can just pull it up a chart of SGov yourself. You can see there's like massive swings up and down, like from the start of each month to the end of each month. So what it is if you have a brokerage that's not paying a yield for your cash that's sitting in your brokerage, buying into SGov or BIL, it's a great way to get yield on your money, on your parked cash. So I think it's yielding per month. It's like a 0.5% like dividend yield. So like say you invested like $10,000, I believe that the math comes out to like a few hundred, like I think around like $100 like every month that you can yield on it, and it's like very safe. The only problem is if you do like buy into it and the Fed does cut interest rates, the whole yields adjust and what you won't suffer like crazy losses, but just something to be aware of. So it's a good place to park your money while the Fed keeps hiking interest rate or just leaving interest rates as it is.
Okay, that's interesting. SPX Noob asks, are you gonna hold any classes on e-commerce?
That's kind of like a separate discussion that I had with, I guess, Jackie and Angela. I mean, maybe soon in the future, but yeah, maybe sometime in the future when I do have more time. But yeah, I mean, internet, like making money online, like, there's like a lots of skills that you could pick up on. I think like with e-commerce, it's like a great way. It's almost like trading as well. It's like very high leverage. It's like very little like investment on your end if you know what you're doing. So who knows? Maybe down the line, I guess ask if y'all just spam Angela's DMs enough, maybe it'll happen. But who knows?
Hope to see that because that's something that's I feel like a lot of people were asking about because I think they know you kind of work with that on the side too. Okay, so last question by Zephyr again. It's a follow up to the high low ticker scanner. Would you mean that you're a breakout trader, and do you have a trader that you consider as a role model?
With the high low ticker, I mean, I would say yeah. I mean, I kind of how I used to trade like last year, I used to like see what tickers were trending within that day, just kept making new highs, what sector was making new highs, identify what the best tickers would be to trade within that particular sector. Do a little bit of TA, do some Fibonacci like retracement, just plot some levels, and then once it does like hit a breakout level, that's kind of like when or breakout or kind of a good entry of a good or demand zone. That's kind of like where I would take that trade. But really, the high low ticker is kind of a tool, not really something that I depend on. But yeah, there's different ways, different applications you guys could use when you are using this scanner. As
Mm,
far as if I have a trader I consider as a role model, like today, not really, because I primarily trade on my by myself. I don't really take anybody's alerts or anything. I mean, I take them as like ideas, but I don't just blindly follow anybody. But if I had to choose, I wouldn't like. It's not really. I would say Martin Shkreli. Like I preach about him a lot. You know, he has like a bad like PR rep with him in his name, but I really learned a lot of like fundamentals and like how like different markets work and like market internals and just not just like the markets in general, but like how like just how Wall Street thinks. Like when just list, he has a YouTube channel. Like when he got out of jail, he made a YouTube channel and like does like very high level DDs and breaks down like a lot of stocks, why he thinks the certain way that he does. I do recommend kind of like checking out his videos because you could get a sense of how like because Shkreli is like a very like Wall Street name and like when you see him when he's so accessible in like YouTube and just see how he thinks, it kind of gives you like a certain edge because a lot of retail traders they just trade like AMC, GME, whatever's trending on stock twits. But once you pick his brain and see how he thinks about things, it kind of gives you like a new perspective of how to trade. So I would say like I guess he's someone I look to, I guess.
okay, that's fair. That's fair. I think we're out of time now. So, do you have any final words, Brick, before we close this off?
Yeah, never put in more. Don't put in what you're not willing to lose in a trade. Always do your own due diligence, of course. Everything that you see on LKS, just take it as ideas, not just purely like trade, like purely like financial recommendation or nothing like that. Always ask like questions as much as you can of with the notables or any other members because I think you guys will take out a much like far more value out that way than just following anything from day trade or swing trade alerts.
Mm,
But other than that, always have a long-term portfolio when you're trading. Look out for your health if you are a full-time trader because you know health is wealth. Once you have a sharp body, a good body is a sharp mind. So yes, that's my philosophy or words I have for you all today.
awesome. Okay, thank you so much for taking so much time out of your busy day to kind of do this AMA. We finally were able to get Brick to do this,
Yay.
and it was so great getting to know you a bit more because when you spend your time in LKS, it's mostly educating people and doing DD and stuff. So it's refreshing to know that there's a person behind that notable trader tag.
Yeah.
We hope that you continue to be with us. You're such a great asset to LKS. Everybody's so appreciative of you.
Mhm.
And we also want to thank everybody else for tuning in. Guys, we have like a lot of gold workshops planned on a weekly basis. So, be sure to check out the announcements. I feel like a lot of people miss the announcement section, but that's where you can kind of see our upcoming events. And, thank you all so much always for your constant support. And we'll see you guys at the next event.
Okay. Bye, guys.
All right, later, dudes and
All
gals.
right.